Hello everybody, it's me, Major Graft, and we are back here on the Shadow Kingdom server to do some more towny fun. And here I am in my new favourite spot, in my new favourite cafe on the monolith. We got loads happening this episode. Hopefully we're going to be doing the very big and the very small, because we are going to start tackling some of the big terraining around the base of the monolith, because at the moment it is hovering rather UFO-like over the landscape, and that's not right. We've got to bed it in, make it look like it's supposed to be there. So that's the big job, and for the little job, I am hoping that we may have a guest to the town to consult on some of the detailing. Yes, we hopefully are going to be recruiting a particularly talented builder from the creative server here on Shadow Kingdom to give us their expert advice on making our base look better. And even before starting to record this episode, I have already started work. We have got some tricky sides to this in terms of placement. These forests and these rivers need sorting out so they look right when they're all terrain. So I'm going to leave them for now, those tricky bits. And we've started on the slightly easier side here. You can see all of that dirt didn't used to exist. We've blended it in with the terrain, so it actually looks like it's supposed to be there. I think we've done a good job that side. Most of the way across, we stop about here because I need to figure out what I'm going to do with this little swamp on this corner. But then we've started again here from the village all the way across to the other corner. You can see my method here, doing the contours, the lines, and then just filling them in afterwards. And we're doing pretty well. We've used, I don't know, almost 3 dub chests already of dirt, which is ridiculous how much it's going to take. I would guess, a good 7 or 8 dub chests by the time we've done all of it. But we are also going to have to divert some of these rivers. I do want the rivers to stay because they do go all the way around the base. So I think we may have to cut a new channel here and then hide these bits. So kind of divert the flow slightly here and maybe slightly here. And then we'll cover up that bit, and we'll make it look like it flows in under there and comes out there just in one flow, and I think that will look nice. But good start, and let's see how much we get done before the end of the episode. So here we go, folks. I told you that we were going to have a guest to the monolith, and here we have our guest. This is Luminiscient. For those of you who have not been on the Shadow Kingdom server, Luminiscent is a absolute legend on the creative server, one of the best, if not the best builders we have. I'm sure that Lumi would be modest, but I'm going to show off for him. Say hi, Lumi.
Hello everyone, my name is Lumi. I am, as Major Graph said, I'm quite okay at building, and this is actually my first time on Towny. If you don't know me, it's probably because you're a Towny player. I'm always hanging around on the creative server, but I have been invited for this very special occasion. I'm excited to see what Major has to show for himself.
Yeah, so the idea is me and Lumi are going to take a walk around the monolith, and as we go, Lumi is going to be my my detailing consultant. You've heard of Mumbo Jumbo doing the redstone consultancy? Well, from now on, Lumi is the detailing consultant, because creative players are without a doubt better at detailing everything. Sorry, Towny players, it's just true. So Lumi, let's start. We're here in the spawn. So I know you've been wandering around having a little look whilst I've been getting ready to film. What are your initial observations? What do you think we could do to improve the detailing around here?
I think there's a lot of things that can be hung in this open space. You've really got this this big dome. And it kind of depends on what you want to do with it, because if you want to keep it a big open space, then I would recommend against filling up the exact center of it. And I would really stick to things hanging down on the ceilings. Now, what things could that be, you might wonder? There's a lot of lights you can hang down. There's flags. One of my favorite tricks is actually to have these vines that you already have sort of going around in a circle here, and have them break up sort of randomly, since they are growing plants, and have them droop down several blocks. And that would create a lot of verticality that not only pulls your eye upwards into the dome, that is really a centerpiece of your spawning grounds, but also will sort of like help frame these walls that are at the moment kind of bare. It would sort of hide them behind a little bit of detail here and there.
Yeah, I think you're right about the lighting being something we could improve on. At the moment, these sea lanterns are just bobbed into the walls just to light the place up as a bit of a placeholder. I think lighting is something that we could definitely improve in here. But I think you're right. I think with this lovely open space feeling like a public building, I think we'd like to keep it feeling quite airy. So yes, I think lighting definitely. Actually, the greenery is the leftover from the Christmas decorations. Would you believe that they were my Christmas decorations, and I enjoyed them so much that the greenery stayed up even when everything else came down.
Honestly, greenery in builds is such a nice way to add a little bit of random shapes to it. A lot of buildings, by their nature, are very structural, they're very symmetrical.
Hmm.
But Minecraft is not really a symmetrical game, even though everybody likes to pretend it is. You can add a lot of you can add a lot of movement and variety just by having a few plants that are allowed to be more random than the building itself, just sprinkled
Nice.
around.
Yeah. So let's move out of the dome then. What about on these outs? So this is, I think, the most unfinished part of my spawn is, as you can see, the very basics of this plinth have been finished. It's literally a cylinder with a top on it. We've not got any edging to this. People can just fall off to their, well, not to their death, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but you know what I mean. So what would you do around this walking area, this outer the colonnades and this balcony area here? What do you think we could do?
The first thing I would do is put up a fence, and you already basically have a sort of plinth here in the darker stone texture where you could easily put up a fence on. You know that players aren't going to be walking this way, so it's easy to gate this off and just put an obstruction here.
Hmm.
You already have this side over here where you have the slabs and you're using anvils. Anvils is a block that is quite often overlooked because it can be a little bit expensive in survival if you have an iron farm, for example, to collect all the iron necessary to use it for detailing. But if you do, I would highly recommend anvils. Another block that also requires iron is cauldrons. And cauldrons are often overlooked as well.
Ah,
They
yes.
make great flower pots. You can literally fill them with water. And then if you use a fence block, any type of fence that you like, and then some leaf blocks on top of that, you can make really easily potted plants that add some height to your build. And also they might obscure the fence a little bit to make this area feel a little bit more friendly if it was just a stone fence by itself.
Yeah, that, I mean, the trick I find with the fences is that just plain wooden fences look far too rustic, and especially when you're building them over a long distance and on a curve like this, they just don't look very good. But then if you start trying to do anything too bulky with stone materials, you then can't look past them to the builds. That really frustrates me. I suppose that's why we went with the slabs over there at the staircase, because it's very hard to make a wall that doesn't completely block the view of all the awesome builds.
That is true. What you could potentially also do is if you really want to use, for example, cobblestone walls, is to use them as pillars only and not connect them up.
Hmm.
So it's very easy to just sort of span them down, and then you'd get that feeling that it's completely blocked off. That makes it more difficult to see. But if you allow a few holes to exist within them, and then to use the slabs like you have, you might be able to build a fence that looks sturdier than
Hmm.
this full slab fence that you have right now, while still allowing some holes to for the player to look through when they're just walking around and not able to fly.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I think we should definitely do a bit of experimenting after we're finished here. That's good. So, where can we go next? What do you think? Shall we have a wander down the paths, or have you any suggestions for the towers? I think they're probably um,
I
a little.
already really like the base shape of this tower here. One very important part of detailing is knowing where not to put your detail. And I think your towers are a great example where you have a slightly more ornate base, and then the middle part is completely left bare. It gives your eye a place to rest. A very common mistake that people do when they first get into building as a serious pastime hobby is to just completely slather the entire thing full of detail, full of slabs and pressure plates and trapdoors and buttons. And I'm really happy that you didn't do that because slightly controversially, too much detail can really detract from a build. So in this case, I actually don't have any tips to improve because I think it is perfectly fine as is.
So what about our paths down the plots? The palm trees. As we head down, we've made some efforts, some organic, some handmade trees, and then we've got these steps. But honestly, haven't put a lot of thought into this. With the lighting, with the decoration, as you can see, I've just spammed some of the bone meal just to get some growth, which I think is fine when you're in a rush, but I think that could be improved. So what would you do just to make this look a bit more curated, a bit more interesting?
I've got good news for you. I've already got tens of ideas that I want to implement. So one concept that that is in a slightly funny term. It's external interior.
Ooh.
And what I mean with that is stuff like park benches, stuff like market stands and crates that are just basically furniture but outside.
Mm-hmm.
You can make, for example, those rose bushes that grow over the path if you have some fences as support. And you can make a really nice tunnel just going in. And you could make things like picnic tables. You can make things like an outside table with some food items scattered around and some seating, some carpets, maybe some jukeboxes. So you can really get the feeling like this is where you can go and have sit down and drink, maybe something to eat while you're resting on your way to look at all the other buildings that people have created around your town.
Nice, yeah, yeah. I can see that working. What do you think about the lighting on these plots, by the way? Again, because they were done quite quickly to try and get through projects, it's the sea lanterns and a couple of these hanging lanterns, and that's it. Do you think we could improve the lighting on these plots any? What would you suggest?
Another option for external interior is tiki torches, and it can be as simple as just having a fence post and then putting a torch on top, and it looks lovely already.
Mm-hmm.
When you want to hide your lighting, you can very commonly use the trapdoors or also carpets. And if you use lime green carpets, they blend in with the grass quite handily. So you can, instead of having these sea lanterns here around the base of the fountain, if you don't want them to show, you can just put them in the corners over here and put some carpet over top, and it will be completely hidden,
Yeah.
while still having the same amount of light levels as you currently enjoy.
Yeah. Do you know the sea lanterns there? It was simply because you couldn't have path plots underneath the half slabs. I don't think
I,
it was that or leaving grass, and I wasn't sure about leaving grass under there. But I don't know. Maybe it could have worked. But well,
One very
maybe.
small thing that you see here, you notice that the path block is just 1/16th of a block smaller than all the other blocks.
Yeah.
And when you are using these types of blocks, you could also, for example, be thinking about snow layers or just slabs. You can see that underneath all these other slabs, you still have the normal dirt. And
Yeah.
what I would like to do is to dig out that dirt block, even though it's just 1/16th of a block, and replace it either with the block that you're using above it, so for example, more quartz, or by using a base, maybe some polished diorite or something like that. Just to make it feel like your pillars, for example, aren't set straight on top of the dirt; they actually dig into the floor and have a foundation. It creates
Yeah.
a little bit more realism.
Yeah, I had thought about putting quartz under that. If you add up the amount of blocks resting on dirt and figure out how much quartz that is, you would be amazed how much you get through quite quickly. But I think actually the polished diorite is an interesting idea. I hadn't thought about putting a different kind of block under there. I just kind of skipped over it completely for now because of the material cost of all of that quartz. But diorite is far easier to get than quartz, so
Yeah,
that's
it's super
maybe
cheap.
something to play with. So yeah, great
If
idea.
you want a really budget example, usually when you look at actual buildings, they might have some concrete or stone foundations if they're older buildings. So even replacing this with something as simple as cobblestone would probably do the trick.
Ooh, controversial. Ooh, ooh. Long-time viewers of my videos will know that I'm very critical of poor use of cobblestone. So I better be darn sure it looks good before I try that. But maybe we should try it. Maybe I should get over my hang-ups and give it a go. Yeah, nice. Great ideas. So obviously, apart from the main spawn build and the paths, we have obviously I've been doing a lot of work on these upper level stepped plots. You can see here we're getting close to finishing a lot of the sides here with just a few more custom trees to put in. But we have this entire blank space of the lower steps. what do you think? If this was yours, if this was a creative build, what do you think you would do with this great vast area, which at the moment is really quite plain and boring?
Yeah, it is quite a big canvas that you have to fill. I see in the upper layers you have put some trees. I think I would copy that down. I think that it would be nicer that the lower you go, the larger the trees are to really give some framing for the plots that are inside the plinth. I could
Oh,
really see
okay.
some great jungle trees that are connected in between with some ropes and have some lights hanging from between them to also provide some lighting to this entire area. What I really want to do, and also a bit inspired by these prismarine and sandstone plinths that you've made here, is make some great statues bordering either side of the main pathways that are coming in. Some Atlas type statues of a figure crouching, holding something above their head, or maybe some swords and shields that they
Yeah.
are crossing. And as a player, you have to walk in underneath, and I think that would make for a very spectacular entrance to the entire structure of your town.
Definitely something to work on in creative first and then rebuild here. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I love that idea. I had thought about making some kind of gate-like structures that were bigger here at some point. I think that's probably a little further down the line. But yeah, great ideas. Liking that. So you were suggesting bigger trees the lower down. Why was that?
Well, your eyes automatically get pulled up by vertical things. Verticality is a very important thing to consider when you're playing a 3D game like Minecraft.
Hmm.
So if you're low down, and all that's surrounding you is like shrubbery and bushes, you don't really know where to look automatically. However, if you have some high things that are sort of pointing air quotes towards where you are going, regardless, assuming you're a
Hmm.
traveler coming from the outside, in, it will really pull your eyes in. And if you're already on the inside and there is these great things that are bordering the plot, you are further incentivized to stay within the boundaries of your town and explore the things that are already there because you're not
Ah,
automatically running
yes.
down. Right now, because the outside is so bare, your eyes are automatically being pulled there. It's very linear sort of thing. And it doesn't really facilitate people staying subconsciously within your town. But if you
Hmm.
do have sort of a boundary, it could even be as simple as a wall, a wall around the outer stairs.
Yeah.
You would create this subconscious feeling of wanting to stay inside and look at everything that the town has to offer first.
Nice. Well, great ideas. Lots for me to have a go at. There is one other thing that I really want your advice on because I know you are an absolute master of organics, and you may look at this and go, "Oh my word, there's no hope for that." But I have actually been having a little go. I don't know if you've seen this if you've seen any of my videos.
I have.
We have the monster in the basement. So if you want to come over and meet me back in the spawn dome, and we can bob down the elevator. And this is where I think your expertise is most helpful. So here we are in the great gaping maw of the beast. And then I'm going to put my glowing helmet back on now so we can see it properly. There we go. I've been working on the first tentacle, as you can see, putting a little bit of texturing in with the different colours of the nether brick there. But I'm really wondering, obviously we've got the 4 tentacles planned out. How do you think I could finish off this as a beast? Because there's these diagonal sides are all going to be fair game for filling this up. So how do you think you would finish this beast off, these diagonal sides in between the large tentacles?
Clearly, this is such a huge undertaking. I have no idea what the logistics are for building organics in survival. I have the luxury of being able to build my organics with lots of world editing commands, and
You
I'm
mean
assuming you
you
don't
mean your
have world
cheese?
edit on survival.
No, if only.
Mm. This is some kind of worm. So what I would like to see is have it be slightly segmented going the way down, sort of like an armadillo, maybe some armored bands, and you can even make these stripes in different colors. I see that you already have a gradient on the tentacle itself.
Yep.
What you could do is you could start off the gradient a little bit lighter at the top and then work it further darker into the shadows as you go into the soil.
Hmm.
What might be interesting is sort of like a mole that this worm has some sort of digging mechanism to claw itself into the dirt. It had to crawl into the foundation in the first place. So maybe you could give it some sharp claws that are sort of like sticking off to either side, like mole hands with big long nails that look very violent, in order to
Nice.
flesh out the sides of it.
I had not thought of that. I was thinking of like sub tentacles just to fill the space because I was desperate for ideas. But I like that idea of having claws that have somehow dug this space out. That really makes sense for the feel of the beast. That's a good idea.
Also, something that is really cool that you've done is sort of like this spiral inside and the tongue sticking out. I mean, this is one advice that I like to give players when building organics is not to make them too static. It's very easy to just mirror one half to the other side, and you explicitly haven't done that. You've made these tentacles spread out in every single direction, and I think it looks awesome so far. Even though right now it's just in infant steps, isn't it?
Yes, this is going to be the work of literal months, I think. But hopefully we can approach something that might not make a creative player blush. Um, these curves done by hand off the cuff, where if you go wrong you have to completely rebuild it, are an absolute pig.
It must be madness.
But go big or go home, eh? That's what we're here
Exactly.
for. Yeah,
Correct.
fantastic. Well, I think we've covered a lot. Was there anything else before we finish off that you wanted to share with us? Or?
Yeah, I just want to share that this town looks kick ass. It's so great as something that is, you know, built completely in survival. It's so impressive. I there's a reason why I only build in creative. It's because I hate gathering resources and building in survival. There's no way that I would ever be able to replicate something like this in survival. So well done.
Thank you very much, Lumi, and thank you for your time and your suggestions.
Worries.
Hopefully we can implement some of these over the next couple of weeks, maybe show off how much better our town looks after having the detail consultant come. So Lumi, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. We will let you go back to creative. I'm sure you've got millions of ideas to conjure up from thin air, as always. We will show off a few of your builds on the channel here, on the video. Also, guys, before we go, Lumi also has some videos up on YouTube that I will link in the description. I will put a card up here so that you can link straight to it, showing off some of his creative skills and giving tips and tricks how to build fantastically. Really shows off his credentials. So go give him a bit of support, maybe consider subscribing to his channel as well, give his videos a like because they are well worth it. But Lumi, thanks very much for your time. And hey, you never know, we might have you back a second time.
We'll see about that. Thank you so much for having me, and have a good day.
Brilliant. So folks, hope you enjoyed that. Something slightly different than our usual videos. Obviously that means we have gone way over time. I don't really have time for doing any town justice in a towny tour this week, so hopefully you guys can be patient and wait for the next one. Don't worry, we will be back with some more towny tours. As you can see, I have been carrying on with my outer ring here, doing the terraining. We've done probably most of the easy bits. We've just got the tricky corner bits where the water is left to do. I've also been chopping down trees in the process, and we're nearly there. Hopefully by next episode we will have the entire thing done and we can start working on all those amazing detailing ideas that we've got from Lumi. So in the meantime, guys, don't forget to hit like if you've enjoyed the video. I really appreciate if you consider subscribing as we head towards the big 500, and we'll see you in the next one.